Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining me. My name's Bev. I'm from Bee Crafty, and today we're going to be doing some mini art journaling in my mini book. So I'm going to be using some Bee Crafty stamps, some Bee Crafty catalyst cards. If you have any questions with regards to any of the Bee Crafty products, please let me know. Sam will be here soon, I'm absolutely sure, to do some links. And if you are catching up later with this video, either in the group or on the Bee Crafty YouTube channel, I would absolutely love it if you could, I was going to say either, but I'd like you to do both. If you could follow us on Facebook and, of course, like and subscribe the Bee Crafty YouTube channel, because that's great, really. Hello, Sammy, how are you? So, what I was thinking we might do today, like I say, is do a little bit of mini journaling in my mini notebook. So if you've seen me here before, you will know that I absolutely love art journaling in all forms, but I absolutely love it to use in my little mini notebook. Now this is just an everyday mini notebook. I got it from TK Maxx, and the thing I love about journaling in this book specifically is that it's not a labour, okay? Because of the size of pages, because how quickly and easily you can put them together, I find it actually boosts my creativity rather than has me sat thinking, well, how am I going to start? Because it's just this lovely small page that you can just get started with. Like I say, it's easy to get going with it, and that's absolutely what I like. Okay, so this is actually my most recent page, because I seem to always do my right hand page first because it's easier now the book's getting fuller. So this is actually my most recent page. There is a reel showing how this is made on the Bee Crafty Facebook page and on the Bee Crafty Instagram. Okay, and basically it's using one of the transparencies, that's where the letters come from, and using the ladybug. Absolutely love it. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on this page here today. Like I said, I do my left hand one first. I will say again, if you are starting art journaling or starting art journaling in notebooks, you do have to remove quite a lot of the pages, because as you add things in, you can see it really does sort of bulk out your book, and I've removed a lot of pages. So you can see where the signatures are here. So the signatures, the groups of pages, I've removed lots of the centres because it makes things easier. Well, it just, you'll get several in and it just won't close. But the beauty of that is you then get to use whatever sort of notebook you have, whatever sort of notebook, whether it's lined paper or squared paper like this one. Actually, that was silly, wasn't it? I should use the big one over here and the smaller one over here. I don't think that's going to reach. I need to go slightly bigger than that. There we go. Okay, is you can then use those pages with your in other books or as part of other projects. Now, I have other side books as well. So all of the products I have used in any of the pages you've seen or I'm going to use today are all available on the Bee Crafty website. Like I say, if there's anything specific you can't find, please let us know. Now, the first thing I'm going to go for is some Bee Crafty catalyst cards. Now, if you haven't seen these before, these are sort of our own range of printed card. Now, it is card, but it is a lightweight card, okay? So so this is our most recent release. I'm going to show you these ones here. I don't know where the cover sheet is. That's okay. So these are A6. Now, this is the number 3 set. Now, there is 4 at the minute, different designs. So this one is number 3, and you get, in the A6 size, you get 2 of each design. They're available in A6, A5, and A4. Okay, but not only that, they're also available. Hang on, if I actually get the cover sheet for the A4, you'll be able to see. So those are that's the A4 cover sheet. So you can see all the different designs in the number 3 set, okay? But they're also available in a grayscale. Typical, I can't find my cover sheet for the grayscale. Here we go. as well, okay, which means you can then build up colours as you like. Now if you check out the Bee Crafty YouTube channel, I actually used, hello Sally, I actually used a grayscale one, this one, a bit in bigger, to do scrapbooking, because on the first Tuesday of every month we do scrapbooking on Try It Out Tuesday, which is live on the Bee Crafty YouTube channel. Okay, so you can catch up with that one. All right, so they are all there. So that's what we're going to use today. We're going to use some Catalyst card number 3, but I'm not going to go into a new set because I have been making lots with these since they were launched, okay, which is a couple of weeks ago, which is only a couple of weeks ago, number 3 and number 4, okay. So I have lots of offcut bits. So I'm going to pick one of these, and they were launched with the clock stamps, of which I still got lots of lovely fussy cut bits ready to go. So I thought we could use some Catalyst card, some fussy cut bits, maybe adding some ink, maybe some texture paste. I was planning texture paste, but I can't see where it is right now. But we'll see how we get on, okay? And we will work our way outwards from there. So I am thinking, do you know what? I used this page in black and white. I think it was that one. It might not have been, actually. It might have been that one. In my Try It Out Tuesday, it was that one, sorry. It was that one. In my Try It Out Tuesday. So, tell you what, let's keep it on theme for the week. We'll use the same pattern, but we use it in full colour, okay? So this one is from the A5. I have cut it down because I was using strips of it for other things, but that's all right. We're not going to worry about that. All I'm going to do at the minute, though, is I'm going to take off that white edge there. They all have a white border around them. Now, what that means is, it does mean, for example, if you're working in an A5 book and you want to put these in, if you cut off that white border, you know it's going to fit in absolutely perfectly with a little edge around the there that you can then ink blend on, or just to give you a nice border. Same with the A6. It's also really handy if you're layering up cards and things like that. What I will also say is, these hearts and things here are also really useful. What I was showing you earlier about the last page I created in this book, you see the little hearts here? These are from this paper here, where I've cut them out individually and then used them as ephemera. Okay, I do that a lot. If I don't know what to do, and then I can't even focus enough to do stamped ephemera, I'll just take my Catalyst cards and then just start cutting out all the bits, because I like to. Okay, it's fun. All right, so I'm going to first things first, because that's where it has to be. We're going to cut round this hand-drawn half-circle-y bit, because I want to layer that over the top of whatever else we do, because I think that's going to fit beautifully, almost like it's made to measure, almost. I'm just going to ping off the edge of that, because it's going to make my life easier when it comes to sticking it down on the edge. Beautiful. Okay, so I think what I might do is almost, right, we're going to rip off, I'm not sure that's the colour I want on the corner. Bear with me, I'm going to grab my paper trimmer. And this is the thing, when I am, I'm going to cut those hearts off there, because that way I know I'll have them to cut out if I want them later. Because I want these ones on my page. Sorry, yeah, this is what I'm like when I'm art journaling. I'll come up with sort of a plan, at the very least the skeletons of a plan, and then I'll abandon the plan. Or at least, shall we say, adapt the plan. See, because I want that colour in the top corner. Okay, so that's what we're going to go with. I'm going to rip all the way across here. Now, the thing with the Catalyst cards, you'll have noticed from the cover sheet I was showing you, some of them are a very full pattern. Some of them, you know, have a bit more empty space. Oh, yes. Okay, so the nice thing about them is they either have, they're completed enough that you can use them as is, or you can add a lot more of your own detail. Okay, so I'm just going to get some matte medium. I'm not using a very good one right now. I'm waiting on some Tim Holtz matte medium to come back in, because it just doesn't seem to be coming. So I'm not going to tell you what it is, because I just wouldn't recommend it. Okay, so I'm going to get some matte medium, and I'm going to put that all over the back of my catalyst card here. Just give it a nice covering. I'm being quite delicate with it because it's really wet, this matte medium, and that's why I don't really like it. I like something a bit more gloopy. Okay, then I'm going to put some on my page 2, and we're just going to tuck that in. Lift that up and tuck that in there. And I'm just going to sort of brush over the top, just to sort of work that in. Really give it some adhesion. The colour printing on your catalyst cards is completely fixed, so you can do watercolour, water techniques on top of it. Everything is going to be absolutely fine. Now, obviously, it is still a lightweight cardstock, so you might get some crinkling, some runkling. But again, if you check out my Try It Out Tuesday from this week, where I was doing lots of distressing smushing on my catalyst card, you'll see that it holds up ever so well, even if you do get a little bit crunkly. And I actually used the word crunkly because Sam pointed it out and I hadn't actually realised. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to use, I think I'm going to get some stamping tissue. I haven't used my stamping tissue in a little while, because I'm thinking, as unhappy as I am with that particular matte medium, I think it's going to be pretty good for stamping tissue. And I'm going to have to use my teeny scissors again. My big ones have gone missing. And that, let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, is indicative of being stolen by a smaller human that I live with. They've come in and stolen my big scissors. Okay. So yeah, so that's going to fit on there. Doesn't have to be exact. We're not going to get too into it. I'm going to get a blending mat, just because I have a tendency to get ink everywhere. I know who I am. I mean, even my blending mats are dirty. I'm just going to have a quick look, see if I can see where I've put my clock stamps. Here we go. So these are the new stamps that I launched 2 weeks ago. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a bit of a background on my stamping tissue using these clocks. The reason I'm going to use the stamping tissue is this surface is now even more uneven than it was before, because I've added the paper on. So therefore, stamping on it evenly and clearly is not going to be a very easy task. Okay. Yes, it is our stamping tissue. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get... Shall I use all the cogs, or shall I use the bigger clock? Tell you what, let's do a little bit of both, see how it goes. So I'm going to go for the more simplistic clock. They sort of get more bougie as you work your way down the backing card, as you'll see. So I'm going to go for the more simplistic one, and then I'm going to put some cogs in after. All right, and I'm going to stamp this in black, because all of the stamped ephemera I've got is stamped in black. So that way it sort of just keeps the theme running, doesn't it? Okay. Now, I am blindly looking for my Versafine. I've got it. And I should be blind. I've got new spectacles. I've got new windows. Okay, so I'm just going to stamp onto my stamping tissue in a couple of different spaces. Now, obviously, the piece I've got is far too big for my page so far, but that's all right. I'd rather have it bigger and then cut it down once I've stuck it on. Sally, your blending mat is purple at the moment. Well, all I have to say is the cards Sally created using the said purple, and this is now adorning her blending mat, is absolutely fantastic. That is over on the Bee Crafty YouTube channel. Sally is live there every other Wednesday evening. And obviously now with Facebook taking them down, I'll maybe trying to make sure I move all Sally's videos over to the Bee Crafty YouTube channel. So I'm just going to put these cogs on here. Now obviously some of it's going to come through. Your stamping tissue is very thin. That's kind of the point of it. Alright. And the thing with our stamping tissue is it took us a while. It's something we wanted to do for ages, but we actually released a few years ago because we just couldn't get the right sort of thickness, because some of the ones we trialled were too thick, some were too thin and tore too easily. Do you know what I mean? And it was trying to get that balance where you need it to be thin enough that you can make it translucent, but on the flip side you also need it to hold up. It's a tricky wicket, and it does sometimes take a little practice, and it doesn't always go right. Do you hear how I'm already prepping you in case I go wrong? Yeah, see, this is not my first rodeo. Look at the state of my desk already. Right, so put my clock stamps back over here for a second. Try and clear some of these things so you can actually see what I'm doing. Alrighty, so we're going to take that off, take our stamping tissue off. Now what I am going to do is, like I say, the matte medium I'm using at the minute is very wet, so it may actually be perfect for this, but what it's also going to do is potentially move some of the ink on our stamping tissue if it's not perfectly dry. So I'm going to give that a quick waft with the heat tool for the sake of the little bit of time it's going to take. It's a worthwhile step. I'm going to go from the back. Now, what I also like to really use the stamping tissue for is inverting my stamps. So, for example, we've got some fantastic faces stamps on the Bee Crafty website. Now, what it means is you can stamp them and then stick them down facing the other way. Okay, and that is now what I would say is dry enough, and that is the general way I decide of whether I'm finished drying or not. Is that dry enough? Okay, so now luckily this is a clock so I can see which way around it's supposed to be. Right, so I've taken my clip off because this is going to go all over. Alright, we're going to put it all over here. And then, but before I put this down, I'm going to take the back of my stamping tissue and a mini mister, and I'm going to mist it, potentially too much. I'm going all crunkly. Right, turn your book round, Bev. Stop trying to turn yourself inside out. We've got some wrinkles, but it's fine. So we're just going to go back over with our brush now. We're just going to embrace the wrinkles. It's right, so you can see by stamping on the stamping tissue, I did get it a bit too wet, but that's fine. How you've got absolutely no, your stamping's lovely and clear. You haven't lost any of the colours of your backing card. Because bear in mind, all the adhesive is going to dry perfectly clear anyway. And it means you haven't lost any of the pattern that is on the back of your card. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tear that excess off there because I'm going to keep catching it. But I'm just going to leave it overhanging and then I'll cut the excess off later. Okay. What I should have done is probably concentrate more on getting the clocks on there fine. But again, it just creates a really fab overlay. I can't lie, I'm now not sure whether I want to put that on. I might cut it down and just make it a bit smaller. I think I'm going to come and cut just inside that section, and then just sort of do that over the top. And then effectively what we've done, and this is again what I was saying about taking out your signatures at the beginning, because if you think about it, we've now added 3 separate layers onto this one page. And if you do that with every page in your book, that means you need to remove 3 pages for every one you decorate. Do you see what I mean? So, okay. Then we've got that one on there. Okay. Now, I was planning to use this massive clock on here, but I fear now that's a bit too big and it's going to cover up some of the fantastic work we've just done. So, I'm thinking instead what I might do is take some of these other clocks that I've stamped on the collage, on the catalyst card, and then layer them up over the top. And instead of having a focal image, but that being said, I could cut it in half. See, now I'm thinking. Okay. I'm also wondering if I want to use transparency prints like I did on the Ladybug page. Because obviously, so Sam did these fantastic transparency prints with clock themed phrases. And that you can use obviously one at a time and chop up. But I'm wondering, you know, if we're going to just keep overlaying, then let's just keep overlaying. Don't really know. I actually think what I might do is I'm going to take out the All in Good Time here. I'm actually going to use the transparency print as a sentiment on this one. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to layer that up onto some white card. I'm just going to put it on the back of there for now. Just put my transparency print on there. While that's drying, we'll assemble the rest of the page. Okay, so let's go for... I think I'm going to stop fussing and just start sticking things down and then decide when I've gone too far. No, I don't want to use a big one. I want to use little ones. I'm so changeable. So I think I'll put some those ones on there. Again, you could do this with your with stamping tissue first. So, for example, you could colour your stamping tissue, and then put stamp and heat emboss on. But for me, your catalyst cards have got all those fantastic colours on anyway, you know, and with the grayscale ones you can also get that sort of monochrome effect, so there's sort of no need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to concentrate putting sort of catalyst card stamped ones over the the line print of the page. And then I'm going to put ones that aren't coloured in. So for example, this is from the border, one of the borders, that are just in the white, stamped and heat embossed on white card. Now, the reason I heat emboss when I stamp is to minimise smudging. Nobody has to heat emboss. I do it because I'm a smudger. Some use the word liability, but that just seems a bit harsh. Okay, so we're just going to layer it. So this is going to be... But I feel like there should be a focal image. But does there always have to be? Is this a good lesson to learn? Sometimes you just want to fill the page, put a sentiment on, and you're done. Add on. I'm going to cut this. I'll sort of add this one on here. I might need to cut that off a bit more once I take the edge off, but I'll wait till it all dries and then trim it. And the good thing is now, at a glance, you can't see which thing is on the bottom, which thing's on the top, because you've got a torn edge, but with something stamped over the top of it. And that's where your stamping tissue really sort of brings sort of optical illusionness. Yes, that's a word. Try how you make something a word, you use it as a word. Together. I'm going to put that dragonfly in the middle of there. Because that looks fabulous. And obviously the fact it fits perfectly inside that clock is totally by design. It's not an accident at all. It has complete intention that I always intended to be an intention. Yeah. Right, so now we're going to cut our transparency print off. That I have stamped, that I've stuck down onto the white card. Because you don't... This is the thing, I think sometimes we look at transparency prints and we can think that's the only way to use it. We look at catalyst cards and don't realise that they can be the coloured, they don't have to be the background, they could be the coloured in background for your stamped ephemera. Do you know what I mean? They are the core of the image. So for example, all of these were stamped on catalyst card. Now this is actually my favourite one, hence why I wanted to use it today. Glad I didn't. So I think that just needs to be a really quick, easy page. Or go on a bigger one. And because it's got the splash detail I put on there from the water techniques, you don't have to do that. You can add more, though, if you want to. But I think not feeling like you have to and that it's an obligation can take some of the pressure off. Kind of like using a smaller book. Do you see what I mean? Well, I did talk about adding some texture paste, didn't I? I think that time may have been and gone because of how many cogs I've put on it. So I think we're just going to have... This is just going to be a catalyst card and stamps page with a cheeky little transparency print. Because I was getting too excited sticking everything on. And like, I think, not to go on about it, but I'm going to anyway. I think that is sort of like an over from my... Try It Out Tuesday scrapbook page where, let me just say, it was a lot. You know, I was extra for my A4 scrapbook page that I made on Tuesday. So anyway, we're just going to hold that down. Okay. Just going to scrape off some of this excess matte medium. Now, obviously, the beautiful thing about matte medium is it's all going to dry. Even this one, it's not my favourite, but I have to say I'm loving how it works with stamping tissue. I'm now probably not going to try and use it all up because I love how it works with stamping tissue because it is so fluid. Okay, so we are looking good. But what I am going to do is I'm just going to give it... I don't like to force things dry, really. But I'm just going to give this a little sort of... a gentle breeze of heat gunness before I trim it down. There we go, just help make it a bit more tacky. Alright, and then I'm going to use, how many pages have I stuck together? Oh, only a couple. That's good for me. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the excess off. You don't have to do that. You know, if you're more of a junk journal styly person and you like to leave it on, good for you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it off. But I do this from the opposite side because I've usually layered that much over the top. I can't really see where the edge of the page is anyway. And then I'm going to go up here. See, and now the excess off, it's like, oh, starting to look complete now, isn't it? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Right, so we're going to put all these back over here. I mean, don't get excited. I'm not like tidying. I'm going to leave that out because obviously I put that medium on the back and I need it to dry. Loving stamping tissue. That's one of those things now. Do you ever do this where you haven't used anything for ages and then you use it and you're like, right, well, that's it. That's all I'm going to use now for the next week. Do it all the time. Okay, and I'm going to use my... This is a Uniball pen. I used to use Pigma Micron and I still do. However, not on lives because I haven't... When I'm doing lives, I have never left something dry long enough that I won't kill a Pigma Micron with the matte medium where I use it. So on lives I use this Uniball. It's a bit more fluid and it's a metal nib, which means it doesn't get as clogged. But it is a wetter one, so it does run occasionally. But you've got to sort of pick your poison job. All right. Just going to add on that faux stitch. For me, it just creates an edge that I really, really like. Really need a new chair too. But you know, it's an epic writing pen. It's Sam and Abby's favourite writing pen. Oh, hello. And there we go. All in good time. So, thank you very much for joining me today. I actually really like, I like just making sure I get my little mini book out, so I hope that was okay. Like I say, I've done scrapbooking on Try It Out Tuesday this week. There is loads of videos to catch up with on the Bee Crafty YouTube channel. Make sure you catch up with any Facebook Lives as they happen on the Bee Crafty page. Like I said, Sally did one last night, so if you would like to catch up with that, go and have a look. I will try and make sure they're added to the Bee Crafty YouTube channel as well. Okay, and we've got card making and tags and ATC, so any sort of stamping, paper craftness, that is definitely where we shine. Well, it's where I shine. Sally has other skills. She can do soft crafts as well. I am soft crafts illiterate. So, you know. But paper and ink and stamps, I'm your woman. So if there's anything you would like to see, please let me know in terms of stamping and things. But also, please make sure you're following us on all the socials and make sure you like and subscribe that Bee Crafty YouTube channel, because we understand not everyone can purchase something every time, but if you interact with our posts, hopefully one day someone will, you know, give us money just for making things online. All right then, guys, thank you so much for joining me again today. Have a fantastic rest of your week, because apparently it's going to be lovely and sunny. Bye.